Hey guys, it's Misha, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am reviewing Matt Walsh's latest documentary, Am I Racist? You may remember the iconic What is a Woman, which we did review as well. This time he's taking on the topic of race and racism in America and asking the question, is he racist, right? Because it seems nowadays everything is racist. Smiling is racist, walking is racist, not being racist is racist because you have to say you're racist if you're white since you're inherently racist as a bleach demon. We know this well from seeing the race grifters on TikTok especially who charge white women, usually it's white women, sometimes white men as well, for these anti-racist courses. That's something we have seen time and time again online. Matt Walsh goes out into the real world and attends these workshops. He becomes DEI certified. So we start off with him on a broadcast. He's in the man bun costume and he's talking about land acknowledgements. So a lot of us, we got flashbacks to university talking about what stolen land you are currently on. And he knows he has to do the work, which is a phrase we hear over and over again. And throughout this film, you'll see how the ones who are actually calling for segregation today are obviously the racist ones, but they're saying no, it's in the name of equality. We see this now with theaters. For example, we reviewed a while ago how there was a blackout night.
Broadway, there were nights where tickets were only sold to people who identified as black. Are you going to do that in the West End?
I'm so excited to, yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
So then we see this anti-racist educator, white woman, of course.
We think every space belongs to us because we live in a white supremacist society. America is racist to its bones.
Talking about doing the work. Doing the work could be interrupting your racist uncle. Foreshadowing, by the way. You'll see Matt Walsh does that. And then she talks about telling children, okay, about racism. So Matt Walsh asks, what about like a 6-month-old? She goes, yeah, I don't see why not. We should be reading them these anti-racist books. I discovered anti-racist baby.
She's still watching Disney movies and she is choosing a white princess over princesses of color.
Have you talked to her about that?
All the time.
Matt Walsh says, yeah, well, what if a child wants to be Moana? That would be great, right? Well, what if they wanted to wear the costume? No, that would be cultural appropriation. Okay, so that would actually be cultural appreciation. If you have a brain, you would understand that. But the expert says that's a problem, that's racist. So you can't not appreciate the non-white Disney princesses, but you also can't appreciate them either because that would be cultural appropriation. So I'm really not sure what you should be doing. Should you just cease to exist? Yes. You will find out later on that what a lot of these experts really want is to abolish whiteness. How there's really no fixing what's going on in America. America is inherently evil. You're never really given a clear solution. You just have to pay for these workshops. So because it doesn't get any worse than, say it with me, a cis straight white man, Matt Walsh knows he has a lot of work to do. So he goes to a support group called Grieving White Privilege. It's with Bricia Wade. She is an author, apparently, of Grieving While Black, an anti-racist take on oppression and sorrow, and a grief expert. So she's the one leading this group. But it's her attitude that really makes it honestly scary. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. A circle full of self-hating white people, and then this woman speaking about how unsafe she feels just being in the room full of white people, how that puts her at risk immediately. They start meditating and sharing their pronouns, of course. Matt Walsh is using an alias, by the way, at this point. I don't think anyone figured out who he is yet, although he is asking a lot of questions and being a little disruptive. So another quote from this lovely woman, she says she prays to God that white people feel extremely uncomfortable for the sake of liberation of others. She talks about systemic oppression and how now is not the time for patience. Kindness is not what is called for. Oh, okay. Again, frightening. It's actually scary. She says she needs to be doing these circles because as a black woman, she's unsafe. She's putting her life at risk just for being surrounded by evil white monsters. I don't know how far the grift goes. I don't know if she believes this, actually. Like, does she walk around day to day and think, wow, white people, they're gonna come get me. I'm so scared. Or is this all just part of the act to get people to pay her so that they, oh, that's so sad, you know, my whiteness, the color of my skin, it's making you nervous. So I don't know, because this is obviously very, disturbed individual, but I don't know how much of it is her just being a girl boss, or if she's like genuinely unwell and like actually believes that. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of the race grifters do believe it, but some I'm sure they're just like, yeah, okay, let's see who believes it. And then a lot of people believe it, so they just get the money. So then they go around the circle. A lot of the white people there talk about how evil they are, how terrible they feel for being white. She also says, the seeds of white supremacy are buried within your subconscious, whether or not you realize it, and without your consent. So like, no, though. No, that's just not true. Like, I'm sorry if you really think that. I'm sorry you think that. There are white supremacists, but all white people, especially the white people attending the circle, if you heard them and you think, yeah, they're white supremacists, literally talking about how much they hate themselves for being white, like, all that's left is to say, yeah, I'm inferior. I'm inferior because of the color of my skin. Like, that's how much they hate themselves. It's sad. She also talks about how she's just waiting for the next microaggression. What do you feel when you hear white people? It goes around the circle and people say, I feel anger. I cringe. And Matt starts crying and steps out of the room because it's just so sad when he hears white people. At this point, this is when they discover who Matt Walsh is, and the energy shifts in the room.
All that's being requested of you is that you be. Hello.
Hi.
Did you want to come up?
Come up?
Yeah, do you want to come up and share anything?
One of them asks if she should be fearing for her physical safety, because that's Matt Walsh.
Whatever's on your
I
mind.
just want to know that, like, my physical safety and yours and everybody else's here is okay.
Why would your physical safety not be okay? Did I miss something?
So these are professional victims. Obviously, she kicks him out and they call the police.
I don't feel comfortable.
Come with me.
Well,
Thank you.
I didn't consent to be touched.
The fact that these groups actually exist, that people openly talk about how they feel anger and guilt simply because of their skin color, it's sad. Like, of course, it's funny in a way. We can laugh at them, but something's not right mentally. Most white people, even in America, they're not this indoctrinated, I hope. Maybe that's me being naive, but I don't think so. The main issue, I think, is that most will stay silent, okay, when they see instances of actual racism, whether that be directed towards black people or Asian people or white people. By acknowledging that this kind of thing is happening now and it is racist, that does not mean we have to ignore what happened historically or say no, that no one's racist towards black people nowadays, which is not true. But we can also acknowledge that this is wrong, that this is insane to be sitting in a group full of white people and saying, because of the color of my skin, I am evil. Pay to attend groups like that and then have a black woman tell you, yes, very bad. You were born white. So the anti-white rhetoric we're seeing nowadays is so normalized because people are silent. Speaking up is crucial, which is why I appreciate the Daily Wire so much for exposing this. They push back against the leftist narratives that we see in mainstream media, which is personally why I love supporting their mission. Now, if you haven't signed up for Daily Wire Plus, now is the perfect time. They offer a full library of ad-free documentaries, series, movies that you won't find anywhere else. You'll see more from Matt Walsh, like What is a Woman, Judge, The Matt Walsh Show, and so much more. It's a great way to fight the woke left while watching content that actually reflects your values. When you subscribe, you get access to their member-only live streams with your favorite Daily Wire hosts, Q&A sessions, and even Benki, which is their kids' entertainment platform. So make sure you click the link in my description and use code Misha30 to get 30% off your annual membership. So instead of supporting woke corporations that hate you, you can actually put your money where your values are. So again, make sure you click the link and sign up for Daily Wire Plus today. So now he's in disguise, he's DEI certified, he has his man bun, and he starts interviewing people on the street. It's a white guy that he's interviewing, and he's saying, listen, okay, if we keep focusing on race in this way, that's actually going to cause more racism. What we should be doing is not be focusing on it. That way we can focus on someone's character. But no, the experts say otherwise. It's just something you observe about somebody, right? Like, oh, that is an Asian person walking down the street. That is a black person. That is a white person. Like, you just see things, right? But what these people are advocating for is, oh, they're black. I have to watch myself right now, okay? Like, how much room am I taking up? Should I smile? Should I not smile? I don't want to offend them. How about we just treat people like people? Right? Like, how about we focus on the kind of person they are and not their race? No, that's not what these people want, because then they would be out of business. So then he talks to the woman who took the video, you may remember this, where there was this multicultural center. And I think these two white guys were there. The woman filming got very upset.
You're making the space uncomfortable. But you're white. Do you understand what a multicultural space? It means you're not being centered.
White's not a culture?
No, it's not a culture. It's white is not a culture. Say it again to the camera. You think whiteness is a culture? So anyways, this is the violence that ASU does, and this is the type of people that they protect.
She has a PhD in sustainability, and she talks about how you should decolonize yourself. $4,500, by the way. She talks about cognitive dissonance and how white people who don't feel guilty, they're just like Yahtzees, let's say, because the Yahtzees were able to go on after doing unspeakable things. White people are just like that. White people are Yahtzees. And also, we need to abolish whiteness. Yay! I would totally spend $1,500 to be taught about how we should abolish whiteness. So, like, you have to be a masochist. I don't know how else to explain it. The white people that sign up for this, you have to hate yourself. Now Matt Walsh has a petition outside of the George Washington Monument, and he wants to change it to George Floyd. And people actually sign it. That's a great idea.
We want to rename the George Washington Monument to the George Floyd Monument.
One white guy says, if there was a black person right here, I would hug them.
Black person around here?
So there's a black person right here. Does he not exist?
Now to one of my favorite moments, the deconstructing Karen scene. You may remember they hold these dinners where they invite white women, the Karens, and teach them about how they're racist, all right? And the Karens pay, of course.
You cannot separate yourselves from the bad white people.
One woman tells us how racist she really is. She has a black husband. So already we know she's very, very racist. But she tells her black husband to be quiet when they're in public in a space where he's being too loud. So she actually tells a black person to lower his voice. You're basically a slave owner at this point. It's even worse, I would say. Yeah. We're taught by the women leading the dinner that this is tone policing.
The hatred of yourselves and each other is like the not seeing your power.
She then says Republicans are Yahtzees.
Be clear what's happening in this country. It's Nazism. Republicans are Nazis.
Matt Walsh is there, by the way, disguised as a waiter who is constantly dropping things.
Raise a glass if you're racist. And that's the thing.
Cheers. Oh, I'm not racist. Let me
So
go.
well, all the rest of it.
She also says, the entire system has to burn, and this country's not worth saving. It's a piece of shit. Not surprised, especially during the BLM riots and what we saw with the American flag, burning it, spitting on it. Like, again, every time I hear this, leave. Why are you here, girl? Why are you here making this money? Girl bossing in America. Just go somewhere else.
The entire system has to burn. And I'm not going to even use save this country. This country is not worth saving. This country is a piece of shit.
Decolonize yourself. Do your own white supremacy dismantling.
He then talks to a black man, and he put it beautifully, okay? He was saying, we all bleed the same, and we just have to love each other instead of dividing ourselves based on race, which was a much needed contrast to the actual racism coming from the anti-racist.
I heard, as I was crossing the intersection, I heard empire. So I turned around and I said, the did you just say to me? He said, this MAGA country punches me right in the face. So I punched his ass back.
They showed the interview. I noticed he's wearing like a rainbow pin.
I noticed the rope around my neck and I started screaming. And I said, there's a rope around my neck. How can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth.
If you don't know, he pretended that he was a victim of a hate crime. It's just insane what people would do for attention.
A Chicago court has found the actor Jussie Smollett guilty of lying to police after he staged an attack on himself nearly 3 years ago and claimed it was a hate crime. Smollett, who is gay and African American, paid 2 masked accomplices to accost him in the street at night.
Amazing scene where he kind of reenacts it. Like, at first they had MAGA hats, and then they didn't have MAGA hats, and they said, this is MAGA country, bitch. So yeah, that shows the absurdity of the fabricated story. He then speaks to Robin DiAngelo. So she makes 0 sense, as expected, about how we should be noticing race, but not noticing race. Matt Walsh realizes he's learned enough. He's ready to have his own workshop. He asked people to share their racist moments. And this one woman talks about how she was at the DMV, I believe, and she heard the song Despacito. And she heard it so many times that she was annoyed, and she said, oh, can someone turn it down? And she said it to a Puerto Rico guy. That's how she said it. And she still thinks about it every day. Because, he would like Despacito, I guess. I'm not sure what she was thinking. He talks about how smiling too much is racist, of course, and we have heard this kind of thing from TikTokers. He then confronts his racist uncle, Frank, for a joke that he told, I think about Mexicans. The uncle's in a wheelchair, by the way, and he says, does anyone have anything to say to my racist uncle? And this one woman says, F you. I don't even want to waste my time on you, but F you. And then we hear from this one lady how she cut off her entire family because they're racist. Her mom, dad, grandparents, everyone. She doesn't talk to any of them anymore. Now it's time for the self-flagellation, and he brings out whips. I was crying at this part, and some people took it. Some people actually took the whip. Now some do leave and they say, I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. But the fact that some people would have continued, yeah. He then ends the workshop. He says, This is too far. People are profiting off of others' white guilt, which is exactly what's happening. This was both entertaining and disturbing, right? To see what is happening in America, to see that people are actually falling for this, and how this activism, this movement, is more so about power and money than anything, not being anti-racist, not actual equality. So it's a must watch. I loved it. I know you guys are gonna love it too. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Also make sure to subscribe to my second channel that's gonna be linked below, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.